All right. Hi, Dave Mejias. Welcome to Life Before the Virus.
Hi, Sky. How are you?
I'm doing great. And you are a family lawyer. And I'd love to hear about the different issues that you're seeing in your practice that pertain to divorce and child support and those types of issues now in our COVID world.
Well, we have a lot of issues going on right now. The first being that the more time people spend with each other, the less they want to be with each other. So we're seeing a lot of people that want to get divorced and are calling our offices to get divorced. That's number one. Number two, there are access to courts. People can't get into court the way they used to. You can only get in for an emergency if you need an order of protection, or there's a COVID-related emergency, or if there's an action that's already been pending, we can go to court and file emergency motions in those cases also. So the complete shutdown of the court system has not necessarily affected all of what we do, but in cases of emergencies, we do get back into court in this COVID world. What the post-COVID world is going to look like, is going to be a whole different landscape as well.
So, how does your job differ now during the pandemic versus what it was like before?
Well, before the pandemic, we were going to court, going to the office, interacting with each other. Now, all the attorneys in our office, we have 7 lawyers, they're all working from home remotely. We have to do everything through our computers, online, Zoom calls with our clients, video conferences with the court. And we don't see each other the way we used to. Some of the attorneys are realizing maybe they don't have to come to the office as much as they used to anymore. And so now it's been just much more complicated trying to manage, a law firm. You can't just walk into someone's office and ask their opinion on a case anymore. You can't just, go to someone's office and ask them if they're available for a phone call or for a new client consultation. So there's a lot more planning, a lot more management that goes into that. And quite frankly, we have clients that are also much more anxious than they ever were before, whether or not they're going to have a job, whether or not their ex is going to keep their job and continue to pay child support, or, what's going on with their kids, and should they let their kids go on their regular visitation with their ex. They don't know if their ex is quarantining or not, or who's in the ex's house, or the ex could have someone, a new significant other that has children of their own. And now your children are mixing with those children and we're going someplace that you don't know. And we're all trying to quarantine, and isolate ourselves and shelter in place as much as possible. But when you're splitting custody and visitation with somebody, you can't guarantee what your children are exposed to. And that's making people very nervous right now.
Now, is there precedent in the law for anything like this, or is this a brand new world that we're in?
I mean, I'm sure there are cases from like 1918 from the Spanish flu, but we're in a different world right now. And I think what we are seeing is that as much as people are spending time with each other and getting aggravated and maybe wanting to get divorced, or exes see this as another way to try, and hurt their exes, we're also seeing, exes work with each other. You have dinner visits with your kid Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's not so practical anymore. You can't go to a restaurant. You don't want children in and out of the house as much as they used to be. So you have to work that stuff out. And we're seeing people that were very acrimonious at one point getting along a little bit better because they need to work this stuff out. And even the attorneys themselves, we don't want to go to court. So we have to either resolve stuff between ourselves or end up having to go into the courthouse that none of us want to go into. So the attorneys are working better with each other. And some people, not all, are working better with each other. And some people see this, some litigants see this as an opportunity to hurt the other party even more.
So in some cases it's better, and in some cases it's worse.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, people at, they say in divorce cases, it's like, in criminal law, you see kind of bad people on their best behavior. And in family law and divorce law, we see good people on their worst behavior. So a lot of that's coming out now. You have an opportunity to stick it to your ex, not let them see the kids. You can't go to court because maybe that's not an emergency, or not pay support because that's not considered an emergency. And people are taking advantage of that. But other people are trying to work with each other because they want to protect the kids and make sure the kids are healthy, especially with, what's happening now with, these Kawasaki disease. And they want to protect themselves and make sure that, they're not bringing COVID into their own homes through visitation.
All right. And the courts were closed in the beginning of this pandemic, correct?
Yes, they were closed for like the first week or two, but there were emergencies only. So they were hearing these emergencies, like the case I told you about with my client got back from Aruba. We resolved that case. And an interesting fact in that case was that while we were like under this COVID quarantine here, you know, in the second week of March, my client had got back from Aruba where there was only one case. So my argument was like, mathematically, the kids were probably safer with her because she was somewhere where they didn't even have COVID, right?
Right.
So, but in that case, we were able to go to court or petition the court as an emergency. And in fact, in some cases, what we're doing is we're sending our adversaries, like, listen, the motion, we're going to say, listen, we're filing this motion in 2 days if we don't resolve this issue. And it's not just a threat. I've already written it. It's already ready to go. We either resolve this or we don't. So yeah, so when the courts weren't necessarily fully open, there still were emergencies. Every week, the courts are opening up more and more. The state court system is doing everything they can to address the litigants' concerns. And I give them a lot of credit. It's a lot to manage, but all the court personnel, the judges, the law secretaries were given laptops. We're using Skype for Business, and we're doing video conferences with the judges. There are some technical issues. For instance, if you have a MacBook Air, the new ones don't necessarily have Skype for Business audio capabilities. We had to clean that stuff. So part of managing a law firm and running these cases now is the technological aspect of what we're doing and making sure that we can actually communicate with the courts as well.
And then, I'm thinking along those lines, more parents are seeing that they can work from home, and maybe that affects the custody issues with the kids.
A lot of people are saying, look, I can work from home now. Like, my boss is saying I don't have to travel for work as much. I don't even have to travel for work. We don't have to do this now. We can work remotely. I don't always have to go into the office. Even when our economy opens up, we're still going to stagger people probably for the next year, on days, off days. I'm home more. I want to see because I don't have to go to work. I want to see the kids more. So people are working remotely and working at home, so they have more time to see their kids, and they may want an adjustment in their visitation. On the other hand, we have people that, we have teachers who now not only don't have childcare for their kids because they have to be home with their kids, but they have to teach their classes and do Zoom classes and do the kids' Zoom classes. So, and then sometimes they're at the same time. So we have a lot of issues that we need to work out right now. And it's a whole new world in the post-COVID New York.
So Dave, is it possible to get divorced? Everyone's saying you're home more with each other. Maybe people want to get divorced, but these actions for divorce, can that be filed on Long Island?
Not on Long Island and not in New York City right now, new actions, unless it's a part of an emergency application. You have to go to court for an emergency of some sort, and then you can incorporate that but it has to be a true emergency. Upstate courts have now opened up, and you can file actions there. Some people, in order to preserve certain rights that happen after you file an action, are filing upstate. You can file anywhere in New York. So if you want to preserve the date of the commencement of your action, you can file upstate if you want. And the reason people do that is because anything that happens after the date of commencement, any money that you make is no longer marital property. So that date of commencement is very important. And then we're also going to have people that are, they're going to be a flood of actions after the courts open up as well, not just for divorce, but people going back to modify their child support. They've lost their job. They can't work anymore. They can't pay the support that they used to pay before, or they're home more and they want to modify custody and visitation, or the other parent wasn't letting them see the kids, so they want makeup time. So there's going to be a lot of litigation when this is over.
Dave, thank you very much for your counsel here. And if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
Well, they can either go to MyGoToLawyers.com or call us at 516-333-7777. We are answering our phones 24 hours a day. During this pandemic, we are no longer charging for consults. So there are free consults as well for anybody that has a problem, a question of any kind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.